Hello guys, welcome back to Techdose, and in this video we will look at single point of failure, which is from system design basics. Now let's get started by looking at a very simple example. Let's say that Sam is a wholesaler and he is connected with many top shoe brands, and they are Nike, Adidas and Puma. Now if there are many local vendors, like let's say Demba, Nick, Sham, all these three guys are local vendor of shoes, and they take the shoes from the wholesaler Sam, and Sam gets all the shoe supply from all of these three top brands, Nike, Adidas and Puma. Then everything would run fine if Sam is available, if all the companies are working fine, isn't it? Let's say in the local market, Demba is actually sick and he is keeping his shop shut down. Then in that case, the customers can either visit Nick or Sham and can get the shoes. And the same thing can happen for the shoe companies. If let's say Nike for some reason is down, okay, that means they are shut down for some days, then still Adidas and Puma will supply their shoes, and that will be available in the local market, right? But what can be said about the wholesaler Sam? Now if Sam is sick and let's say Sam is not working for few days, then Demba, Nick and Sham, they are not directly connected with the companies. They are just dependent on Sam to get all the shoe supplies. So in that case, if Sam is unavailable, then the shoes shortage will be seen in the local market, isn't it? And you will also feel unavailability of Sam will lead to disruption of the supply chain, because the local customers will not be finding the shoes, right? So in this entire supply chain, you will feel like if few of the local vendors are unavailable, still shoes will be available in the local market. If few of the companies are shut down, then still the other companies can supply their shoes in the local market. But if Sam is unavailable, then the shoes will not be available to the end users. Okay. So in that case, the most important link in this entire diagram is Sam himself. Okay. So Sam will be called as a single point of failure. Okay, single point of failure, because just by removing Sam from this entire supply chain, your supply gets disrupted. Okay, and shoes will not be available to the end user. So we don't want this thing to happen. We don't want to be dependent on just a single person, right? So what would be the solution in that case? A solution would be to find another wholesaler who is also connected with multiple top brands, and he takes the supply from these brands, and he can also supply to all of these local vendors, right? So in that case, if Sam is unavailable, then let's say this guy is Rick, then these guys, all the local vendors can go to Rick and take the supply, and also they can negotiate well in between Sam and Rick, right? So there can be multiple benefits. Now if they need a lot of shoes, then load balancing can also happen. Load balancing means, let's say if Sam has a certain capacity of giving 1000 shoes per day, but all of these guys needs 500 supply per day. That means 1.5k supply per day. Then in that case, they can send, let's say 750 request to Sam and 750 request to Rick, whatever they can handle. Let's say they both have 1k as their limit of handling the request, right? So I just don't need to depend on just a single person. Okay, I need multiple people to be in the supply chain, and if multiple people are present, then those kind of systems are called fault tolerant system. As you have already seen my video on fault tolerance, if you haven't, then I will recommend you to see that. Fault tolerant system means if a fault happens, then failure do not happen. Fault can always happen, right? What is the fault here? That Sam is unavailable for some time, he is sick. That is called a fault. But what would be called as a failure? Failure would be failure of service. What is the service that these local vendors are providing? Making the shoes available to the end user. So if Sam is unavailable, that means Sam is faulty, then the shoes will not be available to the end user. So the fault is leading to the failure of service, which is to supply shoes to the end user. Okay, so I want to avoid failure at all cost. If failure do not happen, the end user will never be able to recognize that some fault has happened. Okay, like let's say if Sam is unavailable, then still Rick can actually supply the shoes, and the end user will never notice if somebody in between was actually showing fault, isn't it? They were faulty. The end user will not recognize that, and that gives the best quality of service. So at the end of the day, all the system would want a best quality of service to be provided to the end user, so that they will always be in demand and they make the maximum profit. Okay, that's how the architectures are designed, so that a faulty system never leads to failure. So those systems are called fault tolerant system. Okay, I hope this point is clear. Now, in terms of your client server architecture, you can imagine k number of clients and you can imagine n number of servers. And if this client want to connect to server to get some information out, they have to go through, let's say, a proxy or a gateway. Now, if there is only one gateway, then everybody has to go through this and request the servers. But if this gateway is down, then the clients cannot get connected to any of the server, right? So in that case, this gateway would be a single point of failure. So the fault in the gateway is leading to failure of service. What is the service here? The service can be like the client wants to watch a video that is present on, let's say, server 2, but the video can only be played if the request can go through the gateway to server 2. But if gateway is down, then the request will not go through and client 1 will see a downtime. That means he cannot watch the video. So fault of the gateway has led to failure of service. That means the end user cannot experience the use case for which he wanted to see, right? Seeing the video. Now the solution could be to put another instance of the gateway. Okay, to have another instance of the gateway in such a way that you can have a backup gateway, or you can have another option for the gateway, so that if this gateway is down, then your request can be routed through another gateway and it can get your request to the servers. So in that case, the end user, the clients, will never feel like one of the gateway was down. Okay, and in this way, even though the fault has happened in the gateway, the failure of service, that means watching the video in this case, will not happen. So fault will not lead to failure if you have multiple instances, and such kind of systems are called fault tolerant system. Okay, so I think the concept of single point of failure is clear. I have tried to explain single point of failure in a very simple way. There are many technicalities to it that you will understand later, probably in many of my design discussions. If you still have any doubt, then feel free to comment below and I'll try to help you as soon as possible. If you are someone who is looking to prepare for top product based company within a limited time of just 3 months, then we have brought for you both the DSA and the system design live interview training program. The most important feature of this program is you get a filtered and condensed structured curriculum, in-depth discussion of all the topics, and my guarantee of your understanding, one-on-one guidance with me, and live weekend classes. To know more about the training, you can WhatsApp us on this given number.